Alright, this is solving linear equations, part 2. And we left off talking about how to solve two-step equations. So I have an equation here, 2 minus 3 over 2 times x equals 5. And so we would want to get rid of the 2 first, so we could subtract 2 from both sides, and that would give us negative 3 over 2x equals 3. And then to get rid of a fraction in front of x, we can multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 3 over 2 is 2 over negative 3, and we do that on both sides. And as we already discussed in the other video, this cancels out, leaving just x. And here you can multiply the tops together, multiply the bottoms together, and that would give you 6 over negative 3, which is negative 2. Another example of a two-step equation would be something like this. 7 equals negative 1 plus x divided by 2. Alright, here's our x. We're going to get rid of the plain numbers that are on the side with the x, so I want to get rid of that negative 1. So I'm going to add a 1 to both sides. That would give us 8 equals 0. And then x over 2. So basically you have 8 equals x over 2. Now what's the opposite of dividing by 2? Well, of course, multiplying by 2. So if we multiply by 2 on both sides, like that, then the 2's will cancel and you'll end up with just x, in this case, equals 16. So there's another example of a two-step equation. So let's look at multi-step equations. Multi-step equations are basically equations where you have to use the distributive property, or you have to combine like terms first before you can solve the equations. So for example, if I have 6 times parentheses x minus 2 equals 8, you can see that I've got a distributive property situation here. So I can distribute and I get 6x minus 12 equals 8. And now it's basically a two-step equation. We can just add 12 to both sides and get 6x equals 20. To get rid of the 6, of course, the opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6. So we're going to divide that on both sides. This cancels out, leaving x equals 20 divided by 6. Now 20 over 6 reduces to 10 over 3 because you can divide the top by 2 and divide the bottom by 2, and that would give us 10 over 3. 10 over 3 is 3 1/3 as a mixed number, but either one of those answers is fine. Alright, here's another example of solving a more complicated equation. 4 parentheses x plus 1 minus 7 equals 5. Alright, so of course first we're going to use the distributive property, and we'll get 4x plus 4 minus 7 equals 5. You can combine the 4 and negative 7. So that would give you 4x equals 4x added with negative 3 equals 5, because 4 minus 7 is negative 3. And then if you add 3 to both sides to get rid of that negative 3, you'll have 4x equals 8. And of course divide both sides by 4, and you end up with x is 2. Now to check this, as I've been saying, to check your work, you can plug it into the original equation, which we had 4 parentheses x plus 1, so now we have 4 parentheses 2 plus 1 minus 7 equals 5. Let's see if it works. I can combine 2 and 1, so 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12, minus 7 is indeed 5. So 12 minus 7 is 5, checks out. Alright, now the next type of equation that's a multi-step equation is one that has variables on both sides. So if you have a variable on both sides of the equal sign, then you need to first, before you do anything else, get the variables together. So you see I've got a 4x or I've got an x. Now we can subtract negative x, or I'm sorry, add negative x or subtract x from both sides. The reason I might want to do that is because here I've got x, so x minus x would end up to be 0. So we just have 8 on the right side, and then 4x minus x is 3x, because 4 of them minus 1 of them. So 3x minus 3 equals 8. Now it's basically a two-step equation. I want to add 3 to both sides, and that would give us 3x equals 11, and then I want to divide 3 on both sides. So the 3's cancel, so x comes out to 11 over 3, or of course that's 3 and 2/3 as a mixed number. So either one of those answers is fine. Alright, so if you have variables on both sides, just subtract or add in order to get rid of the variables on one of the sides and bring them over to combine them on the other side. And then it's just like a two-step equation. Let's look at some more examples. Suppose you have 6 minus 2x equals negative 8 plus 4x. Alright, so we have variables on both sides. So the first thing you want to do is bring them together. So now I could either subtract 4x from both sides, or here is a negative 2x. If you add 2x to it, the negative 2x and the positive 2x will add up to 0 and get rid of it. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to add 2x. So that gives me 6 equals, because this disappears, negative 8 plus 6x. I'm sorry, the camera keeps going out of focus. Alright, so now you have 6x as your variable, and to get rid of this negative 8, I'm going to add 8 to both sides, and that gives us 14 equals 6x. Alright, because we can bring that 6x down. This of course adds up to 0. So now I want to get rid of the 6, so I'm going to divide both sides by 6. 6's cancel. This can be reduced. It reduces to 7 over 3, so that's our answer for x. Okay, so first we see that I've got a negative 2x, so if I add positive 2x to both sides, that'll get rid of the x's on the side, and then it's just a two equation. Alright, let's do one that has more things involved. Let's put the distributing together with the combining like terms. Alright, so we have this equation. So first thing you see, you've got a distributive problem. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute, and you'll have 13 plus 4y minus 8. Now you can combine some like terms, 13 and negative 8. Well, 13 and negative 8 makes positive 5, so you have 4y plus 5 on the left side, and then if you want, you can put this in order with the variable term first, so that's the same as negative 2y plus 1. Either way, it doesn't matter, but when you get the y's together, you've got 1 on both sides. So here are the negative 2y, add 2y to both sides,
and that will give us 6y plus 5 equals 1. Please notice I'm only going to do one thing at a time. I'm not going to try to do many things at once. I'm just trying to get the y's or the rules together, and then I'll go ahead and solve it. So now you can subtract 5 both sides and get 6y equals negative 4, because 1 negative 5 is negative 4. Then divide both sides by the 6's cancel, and then this reduces to negative 2 over 3. And negative 2/3 is our solution. So this one was one where we wanted to first and then combine the numbers, and then I had to get the variables together on the same. So that is called solve a equation. One equals